Good morning, my friends. I want to share with you my favorite tip for building self-trust in recovery and also learning how to be productive in a way that's relaxed, which is obviously a really helpful and important thing that most people who have limbic impairment have not learned how to do. So this is the trick or the tip. This is only going to work if you're in later stage, like if you've been rewiring your brain for 6 to 12 months. This is going to be more within reach. So the trick is to take between 5 minutes and an hour and only do what your instincts draw you to do, or go only towards what feels good. There's two varieties of this. You could just follow your instincts. So meaning if you're just like sitting in your bed or on a couch, you sit there and notice, what do I feel like doing in my body? And instead of thinking about getting up and doing something, just noticing when you naturally get up and go to do something. Or maybe it's not a physical thing. Maybe you're doing a task, or maybe you're elevating your mood. You're watching something funny. You are listening to music. You're doing a practice round. You're visualizing, and you just go towards what feels good the whole time. That's the key, is to go towards what feels good, or take the storyline of your visualization in the direction that just feels the most fun in that moment. Just kind of go with, even if it changes the story and doesn't seem to make sense, try just going with what comes up in the moment and feels interesting in that moment, and go with that. And again, do that for somewhere between 5 minutes and an hour is a good place to start. And what you're doing here is you're learning to rely on your instincts, and you're learning to get into flow and get out of your head. What often happens when we're in limbic impairment, generally part of that is that the brain is very worried. It's always looking for a threat. That's what it's doing most of the time. It's like, where's the threat? Where's the threat? I have all this chemistry, this stress chemistry that's telling me there's a threat somewhere. Where is it? We've got to figure it out. And also our brain is moving very quickly when we're in fight or flight. So we tend to obsess about our to-do lists and our, whatever on our recovery. That's a big common theme, is obsessing about, what do I do next? And what's the right thing to do in order to achieve recovery? And when we start practicing self-trust and start practicing cultivating this relationship to your instincts, you get right out of your head. Because what that does, obviously, is it just kind of ties your limbic system's panties in a bunch until you're so stressed and so, wound up that you go into freeze and don't do anything. That's usually what happens. It becomes so stressful. And then our brain starts to see the process of recovery or productivity in general as a negative thing, because we always have this really intense negative experience when we're trying to be productive or do our practice. So I encourage you to do this, every day, once a day, a couple times a day if you want to. And what you're doing, there's going to be a couple more pieces that come into the picture later. I know that just practicing following your instincts doesn't have a magical effect in every way. But what it does is it helps us to rely on our body. Because at first what you're doing is just doing the next thing that comes up that feels good. And what that does, it gets you out of freeze. You're actually doing something, whether you're trying to accomplish something or do a mood elevator or something for your recovery. You're actually doing something, and it's feeling good, or it's at least feeling a lot less bad, because we're not like trying to override the stress and the overthinking and the what do I do next. And that's good. You're actually in your process of either recovering or doing something. We don't want to worry about what we do just yet. It's almost like, again, you're training your brain. So you just want to start with, you don't want to be picky about what you're doing. And if you're being productive, this is also, a big thing for later stage recovery, is learning how to be productive in a way that we stay in dose chemistry. And this is how we build it, is starting by trusting your instincts and getting comfortable just doing the next thing, knowing that that's going to get more done around your house and in your recovery than getting yourself wound up and stuck in freeze and procrastinating. And over time, you can integrate your value system. As you define your value system and integrate that, and you get more nuanced in your relationship with yourself, both either your recovery or your life is going to be very productive, but in a way where it's body-based and you're not stressing yourself out. And that's something I want to, just for those who are still with me, a little story on this. When I was limbically impaired, when I was chronically ill, and before that, my whole life, when I was always stressed, I was not a very productive person. I was having kids, but I was a stay-at-home mom. I wasn't working a job, and I had, up to previous points, less kids, but I was always stressed about my to-do list. My to-do list was just always, it's this recycling of the litany of to-dos that was so overwhelming. It felt like I never could get enough done to be relaxed about it, and was always behind and couldn't manage my workload at all. And now I own a business, own my own house, and I have my 5 kids with me 3 days a week, and it's just me, right? I don't have anybody in my life with me, and this is way easier because now I just trust my instincts and just do the next right thing, and everything just does kind of get done at some point. It's taken me years to get from a place where having a to-do list of any kind was overwhelming, and trying to do anything was overwhelming, to this point where I can it's my workload doesn't really stress me out anymore. But that's only because I've installed this new way of doing it, where I've learned how to stay in that instinctual place and just do the next right thing, and really integrate the value system, and it's all come together. So I just want to give that to you guys as a note of encouragement. If you felt that, you're uncertain how you'll ever be able to have a full life and feel relaxed still, there is a way to do it, and here's where you can start. I love you guys.